The stars stretched endlessly across the black canvas of space, quiet and eternal. But deep within that silence, something stirred, something powerful and alive. Admiral Xylan of the Krell Dominion stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dreadfang, as his crew moved quickly around him. Their reptilian scales reflected the cold light of the control panels. They had conquered 23 star systems, burned countless worlds, and enslaved entire species. Yet today, there was unease in their eyes. The cause of that unease floated in the holographic display before them, a blue-green planet glowing softly against the dark void. Earth. No one had heard of it until recently. A small planet, far from the galactic core, orbiting an ordinary star. But rumors, whispered through trade channels and encrypted military reports, had begun to spread. Rumors that this planet had awakened. Admiral Xylan's second-in-command, Commander Thrix, broke the silence. "Sir, our scouts report that human vessels have entered the outer rim sectors. They are armed, but different. Their ships don't use any known technology." Xylan's golden eyes narrowed. "Different how?" "They move faster than warp signatures allow. No detectable fuel trails, and they don't broadcast identification signals. Just silence, silence." That word hung in the air like a shadow. For the Krell, silence meant danger. Every empire they had crushed had screamed, cried for help, sent distress beacons, fought until the end. But the humans, if the reports were true, sent nothing. They moved through space like ghosts. Then came the transmission, an old one. It was discovered floating near the ruins of a Varn outpost, a place the Krell had destroyed 2 cycles earlier. The message was faint, broken, and filled with static, but it carried one line that chilled every soul on the bridge. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you escape." No one knew who sent it. The voice was neither human nor Varn. Some said it came from an alien ship that had once fought beside humanity and survived long enough to warn others. Admiral Xylan dismissed it at first. Superstitious nonsense, he thought. No primitive world could challenge the Dominion. But now, staring at the small blue world on the screen, he wasn't so sure. The silence before the storm on. The surface of Earth, humanity was changing. After centuries of peace and rebuilding, the nations of Earth had united under one banner, the Terran Union. The Union's fleets were massive and sleek, but their power came not from numbers. It came from what they called the Titan Core, a mysterious energy discovered beneath the Arctic, left behind by unknown hands. Humanity had learned to harness it, to shape it into energy, weapons, and ships unlike any other in the galaxy. In orbit above Mars, Captain Elena Ward of the TUS Resolute looked out through the viewport at the glowing curve of the planet. She was young, sharp-eyed, and calm, a soldier raised in peace, trained in silence. "Status report," she said. "Fleet is ready, Captain," replied Lieutenant Harris. "Long-range sensors show unknown ships entering the system." Elena nodded. She had expected this. Humanity's expansion had not gone unnoticed. The Krell Dominion, the strongest of the outer empires, would not allow another power to rise unchecked. Still, she remembered the words of her late mentor, Admiral Vance. "We don't fight because we love war. We fight so others never have to." Now, as alien signatures flickered across her screen, she understood what those words truly meant. The Krell's mistake on board the Dreadfang, Admiral Xylan made his decision. "Prepare the fleet," he commanded. "We'll strike fast and end this before they can react." His fleet of 50 warships descended from hyperspace like a storm. Plasma lances charged, shields flared, and targeting systems locked onto Earth's orbital defenses. But then, nothing happened. The human defense grid did not activate. No fighters scrambled. No energy spikes were detected. The humans didn't even respond to the incoming invasion. "Are their systems offline?" Thrix asked, confused. Xylan frowned. "No species ignores the Krell. This must be a trick." Suddenly, every Krell ship's sensors went black for 2 seconds. Just 2. But when they came back online, something enormous had appeared behind them. A shadow. A ship so massive it blocked out the stars. The crew froze. Its hull shimmered with energy like liquid metal. Its engines emitted no sound, no light, just a deep pulse that could be felt through the bones. Across its side, a single name burned in white letters, Titan-class battleship Eidolon. "Impossible," whispered Thrix. "That ship is the size of a moon." No one knew how it had arrived. There were no warp traces, no visual distortion. It had simply appeared. Then a voice came through the comms, calm and clear. Krell Dominion Fleet, you have violated Terran space. Leave immediately. It was Captain Elena Ward. Her voice held no anger, only certainty. Admiral Xylan laughed bitterly. Empty threats, fire! 50 Krell ships opened fire. Plasma storms lit up the void. Thousands of blasts tearing through space. For a few seconds, the Eidolon vanished inside the explosion. Then, as the fire cleared, it emerged untouched. Its hull shimmered, its shields unseen. Xylan's eyes widened.
How?
Then the human ship moved. It didn't accelerate, it simply shifted. One moment it was there, the next it was behind the Krell fleet. Dozens of enemy ships were vaporized in seconds by thin, silent beams of white light. No explosions, no sound, just ships disappearing into dust. Thrick screamed, "Retreat! Retreat now!" But the warning came too late. A message from the Paston board, the Dreadfang, chaos spread. The navigation systems were failing, engines refusing to respond. Something invisible was gripping their ships, disabling them one by one. Admiral Xylan stared at his screen, trembling. What kind of power is this? A transmission appeared across all Krell ships. It wasn't human. It wasn't machine. It was something ancient. You were warned. They do not fight for conquest. They fight for memory. The voice was old, broken, and filled with static, just like the message they had once ignored. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you escape. And then, silence. For the first time in Krell history, Admiral Xylan felt fear, not of death, but of what he didn't understand. The humans had not spoken again. They hadn't demanded surrender or revenge. They simply waited, their ship glowing softly in the darkness. He knew then what the message had meant. Humanity wasn't dangerous because of its weapons. It was dangerous because it remembered. It remembered every invasion, every loss, every scar of its past, and it would never allow history to repeat itself. The Krell Dominion's flagship, the Dreadfang, limped through the void. Half its systems were gone. Its once shining armor burned and broken. Inside, silence filled the corridors, no victory songs, no proud voices. Only the soft hum of damaged engines. Admiral Xylan sat in the command chair, staring blankly at the dark screen. His golden eyes, once filled with pride, were now dim. Around him his crew whispered in fear. "Sir," said Commander Thrix, his voice trembling. "Only 7 ships made it out. The rest gone." Xylan didn't answer. He had seen fleets destroyed before, but never like this. The humans hadn't shouted. They hadn't taunted. They had simply acted with calm, quiet precision, like a hand swatting away dust. Thrix spoke again, his words shaking. "Sir, what were they?" That ship, it moved without warp. It fired without heat signatures. And those voices? Xylan finally looked up. That was not war, Commander. That was a message. The bridge fell silent again. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, as if watching them flee. The return to Krell Prime. When the damaged fleet arrived at Krell Prime, the homeworld of the Dominion, the once mighty capital turned into chaos. Rumors spread faster than light. The invincible Krell fleet had been destroyed, not by an empire, not by a coalition, but by a single world, by humans. Crowds gathered in the metallic streets of the capital city, watching as the wounded ships descended from orbit. Reporters, officers, and civilians all wanted answers. In the Great Hall of Command, the Council of the Dominion waited. 11 elders, their scales silvered with age, sat in silence as Admiral Xylan entered. His uniform was torn, his head low. Counselor Terran, the oldest among them, spoke first. "Admiral Xylan," he said slowly, "you left with 50 ships. You return with 7. Explain yourself." Xylan raised his head. "We faced a power beyond understanding. The humans." He hesitated, searching for words. "Are not what we thought," another counselor hissed. "Primitive mammals. Their world has no known weapons of mass reach. How could they defeat our fleet?" Xylan stepped closer to the council's podium. "Because they do not fight like others. They do not seek conquest or glory. They strike only once, and when they do, nothing survives." He paused, remembering the soft, calm voice that had come through the comms. "You have violated Terran space. Leave immediately." It hadn't been a threat. It had been a warning, a final chance to turn back. And he had ignored it. The council's doubt, the council murmured among themselves. Some whispered that Xylan had gone mad. Others looked fearful. Counselor Terran finally raised his claw. You expect us to believe one human ship destroyed our entire fleet? Do you have proof? Xylan's voice broke slightly. I saw it. A Titan-class battleship named Eidolon. It appeared out of nowhere. Our weapons did nothing. Our systems failed. It was as if the void itself fought against us. A younger counselor laughed bitterly. A ghost story, then. Xylan slammed his claw against the metal floor. Do you think I want to believe it? We are the Krell Dominion. We rule half the spiral arm, and yet they erased us as if we were nothing. The room fell silent again. Even those who doubted him could hear the truth in his voice. Then Xylan took out a small cracked data core. This was all we recovered from the battle. Play it. The council's hollow display flickered. Static filled the air. Then an image appeared. The Krell fleet firing all weapons at a single point in space. A bright explosion consumed the area. But when the light cleared, the massive human ship stood unharmed, its hull glowing with soft blue energy. Next came the voice. Calm, cold. Do not attack again. Even through the static, those words carried weight. It was not a command, it was a fact. The counselors stared in disbelief. Some trembled. Counselor Terran leaned forward. Admiral, what do you suggest we do? Xylan took a deep breath. We must stay away from them. If we provoke them again, the Dominion will fall. The rising fear, but the galaxy does not rest on warnings alone. Within days, the news had spread beyond Krell Prime. Traders whispered of human ships moving silently through the border systems. Explorers claimed to have seen planets suddenly protected by invisible barriers. Many dismissed the stories as fear. But others listened. In the shadowy underbelly of the galactic network, smaller races, once enslaved by the Krell, heard the rumors too. They spoke of the humans as saviors or perhaps as avengers. The Deathworlders, they called them, children of the storm. The ones who remember. Among these whispers, a message began to circulate through encrypted channels. Do not attack the humans, they will never let you escape. No one knew who kept sending it. Some said it came from survivors of older wars, from species long thought extinct. Whatever the source, the effect was the same. Fear. The Human Council, meanwhile, far away in the Sol system, the Terran Union gathered in the orbital station High Reach, circling above Earth. Representatives from every colony, Mars, Luna, Europa, Titan, were present. The air was tense. At the center stood Captain Elena Ward, now promoted to Fleet Commander. Reports confirm the Krell fleet retreated to their homeworld, said Minister Oren. They are silent now but frightened. What is your assessment, Commander Ward? Elena spoke calmly, her voice steady but firm. They'll recover, but they've learned what we wanted them to. Humanity will not be touched again. The council nodded, but one man frowned. Admiral Reynold, old and weary. We could have destroyed them, he said. Why didn't you? Elena looked out the window, watching the curve of Earth below. Because destruction is easy, fear lasts longer. Her words echoed through the chamber. Even the harshest generals fell silent. The Titan cores, she continued, are not meant for conquest. They are for balance. We use them only when peace is threatened. Humanity will not start wars, but we will end them. The room agreed. Humanity had once been broken, divided by greed and chaos. But now, united, they had become something different, and they had no interest in ruling the galaxy. They simply refused to be ruled again. The scientists' discovery back on Mars. In the crimson glow of the Terran Research Complex, a scientist named Dr. Liu worked quietly among the hum of machines. He had been studying the Titan core, the strange energy that powered the Eidolon and the rest of the human fleet. He had discovered something alarming. The energy readings did not match any known cosmic pattern. It wasn't natural, it was ancient, older than the Milky Way itself. Dr. Liu whispered to himself, "This isn't human technology. It's a legacy." He uploaded his findings to the High Reach Council with a single note. The Titans were not built by us. They were left for us. The awakening of the galaxy weeks passed. The Krell Dominion stayed silent, but across the galaxy others began to move. The insectoid Hethan Empire sent scouts toward human space. None returned. The serpent-like Varn Confederacy began fortifying their borders, fearing the same fate. Even the distant Averick Syndicate, who once ignored all warnings, began to whisper one phrase across their networks: "Do not attack the humans." Some saw humanity as monsters. Others saw them as guardians. But none were foolish enough to test the truth. On Krell Prime, Admiral Xylan stood on his balcony, looking at the twin moons above. His world was safe for now, but he knew it was only because the humans allowed it. He turned to Commander Thrix, who had joined him quietly. "Do you believe the stories?" Thrix asked softly. Xylan didn't answer at first. He stared at the stars, thinking of the Eidolon, of the calm voice that had spoken to him, and the power that had destroyed his fleet without anger. Finally, he said, "I don't believe in stories. I believe in warnings, and we've already ignored one." The signal then, one night, deep in the void near the galactic rim, something stirred again. A faint transmission was detected by human sensors. Not a distress call. Not a threat, it was a message from a place beyond known space. "They are coming." The signal was ancient, echoing across centuries. No origin could be found. On Earth, Commander Elena stood before the great map of the stars, her reflection glowing in the glass. "What does it mean?" asked Lieutenant Harris. Elena's expression hardened. "It means our story isn't over. The Krell were only the beginning." She turned to the screen showing distant lights flickering in unknown corners of the galaxy. "Prepare the fleet," she said quietly. "If they're coming, we'll be ready." Outside, the stars burned brighter, as if warning the universe itself. The words whispered once more through the darkness, carried on invisible waves. "Do not attack the humans, they will never let you escape." The galaxy was quiet, too quiet. Weeks had passed since the mysterious transmission echoed through space. "They are coming, on every world, from the frozen moons of the Hethan to the burning deserts of the Varn." Fear grew like a shadow that would not go away. No one knew who they were, but everyone remembered what happened to the Krell Dominion when they ignored a warning. On Earth, Fleet Commander Elena Ward couldn't shake the message from her mind. It had appeared out of nowhere, detected by every listening post in the Terran Union at the same exact moment. It didn't come from a single direction. It came from everywhere. In her command room aboard High Reach Station, she stood silently, looking at the glowing stars on the holographic map. "Still no source?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Harris shook his head. "No, ma'am. The signal doesn't match any known pattern. It seems ancient, older than the Titan cores themselves." Elena's brow furrowed. "Older than the Titans." Dr. Liu, now head of Titan research, appeared on the screen. His face looked pale and worried. "Commander, I've been studying the signal's data waves. It's not just a message. It's a warning encoded inside the energy. Whoever sent it, they were trying to tell us that something is entering our galaxy. Something powerful." Elena crossed her arms. "How powerful?" Dr. Liu took a breath. "Strong enough to frighten whoever left the Titans for us. The storm beyond the edge, at the far edge of the galaxy. Beyond the Krell Dominion, there was a region known as the Void Rift, a place no one dared to enter. For centuries, explorers had vanished there without a trace. Now new readings were appearing, massive energy spikes, gravitational distortions, the kind of cosmic storms that tore entire fleets apart. On Krell Prime, Admiral Xylan watched the sensor feeds with growing dread. He had hoped never to see another anomaly like the one that destroyed his fleet, but this was far worse. "Commander Thrix," he said slowly, "how many ships are detecting this?" Thrix's eyes flickered nervously. "All of them, sir. Every satellite near the rift shows movement. Large scale. Not a storm. Something is inside it." Xylan stared at the holographic display. Strange shapes moved within the distortion. Not ships, not asteroids. Something darker. Something alive, he whispered. "They are coming." The decision on Earth, the Terran Council gathered again. "We don't know who they are," said Minister Oren, his voice echoing through the chamber. "But if this force reaches inhabited space, it could destroy everything. Humans, Krell, and all others." Admiral Reynolds slammed his hand on the table. "Then we strike first. We have the Titans. Let them see our power before they reach us." Elena shook her head firmly. "No, we cannot fight what we don't understand. We need to know who they are and what they want." There was silence. Everyone looked at her. Finally, the council's speaker said, "Commander Ward, are you suggesting we talk to this threat?" Elena's gaze was steady. "If they are coming for war, we'll fight. But if they are running from something, we need to know." An unexpected visitor. 3 days later, the Terran outpost near the Krell border detected a small ship approaching. It was damaged, barely holding together. No weapons, no shields, and a faint life signature inside. "Identify it," Elena ordered. The sensor officer frowned. "It's Krell." Within hours, the ship was brought aboard the human vessel TUS Horizon. Inside, medical teams found a single survivor, a Krell messenger, weak and burned from radiation. Elena visited him personally. The creature's scales were cracked, his breathing shallow. "Who are you?" she asked softly. The Krell looked up with fear and respect in his eyes. "Admiral Xylan sent me." "To warn you," Elena leaned closer. "About what?" The Krell coughed, his voice rasping. "They are not from this galaxy. They destroy everything they touch. We tried to stop them, but our weapons meant nothing. Who are they?" Elena asked again. The Krell's eyes flickered with fading strength. "They are called the Hollow." Then his breathing slowed and his body went still. The Hollow. The name spread across the stars like fire. The Hollow. Every empire, every species heard it. No one knew where they came from or what they wanted. The only thing known was that they consumed energy, planets, even light itself. Dr. Liu gathered every scientist and historian he could find. Together they discovered something shocking. The ancient records buried inside the Titan cores contained fragments, warnings written in a forgotten tongue. When translated, they said, "The Hollow come from beyond creation. They devour suns, erase history, and silence life. The Titans were made to stop them, but only if all stand together." Elena read the message in silence. Then she said, "All stand together? That means the Krell too." Enemies turned allies days later. A secure transmission arrived from Krell Prime. Admiral Xylan appeared on screen, his expression grim. "Commander Ward, we received your message. You are asking for an alliance?" Elena nodded. "If the Hollow reach us, no one will survive alone. The Titans were created to fight them, but we need every fleet, every world." Xylan hesitated. His pride fought against his fear, but then he remembered the voice that had once warned him, "Do not attack the humans." He lowered his head. "The Dominion will stand with humanity." Elena gave a small nod. "Then we fight together." For the first time in history, the Krell and humans shared data, ships, and plans. The galaxy watched in disbelief as old enemies built a joint fleet, uniting under one banner, the Alliance of the Living. First contact. The first Hollow ships appeared without warning. They didn't come from hyperspace or through any known route. They simply emerged as if the void itself gave birth to them. They were massive, black as shadows, with hulls that bent light. No visible engines, no sound, no life signs, just hunger. When the Alliance fleet detected them, every alarm and every ship screamed at once. 50 signatures. No, 100, shouted Thrix aboard his cruiser. On the bridge of the human flagship Eidolon, Elena stood tall. "Target the lead ship. Fire on my command." Plasma beams and Titan energy lances fired through the void, hundreds of them. But the Hollow absorbed the attacks like smoke into wind. Dr. Liu's voice came through the comms. "They're feeding on our energy. Every shot makes them stronger." Elena clenched her fists. "Then stop firing. Fall back!" But it was too late. The Hollow released dark waves that tore through shields and systems. Ships vanished one after another. Admiral Xylan's voice crackled through the comms. "We can't stop them. Nothing works." Elena stared at the glowing core of the Eidolon. The Titan energy pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Then she remembered the message. The Titans were made to stop them, but only if all stand together. She took a deep breath. "Admiral Xylan, power your ships into sync with us. Connect your energy cores with our Titan field." Xylan hesitated. "That could destroy us all." "It's the only way." The light against the Hollow. One by one, the Krell ships linked their systems to the Eidolon. Energy lines connected them like threads of light across the dark sky. The Titan core glowed brighter, brighter, until the stars themselves dimmed. The ship shook violently. "Commander," shouted Harris. "The energy output is beyond limit." Elena's voice was calm. Hold steady. Then the light burst outward, a silent explosion of white energy that spread through the fleet like a living wave. The hollow ships screamed, not with sound, but with vibrations that shook the void. Their black hulls cracked, folded, and shattered into dust. The energy wave consumed them, pushing them back into the rift from where they had come. And then silence. Every ship in the Alliance floated quietly, damaged but alive. Elena exhaled slowly. Status? Minimal losses, Harris said, but the hollow are gone. Admiral Xylan's voice came through, filled with awe. You did it, Commander. The humans did it. Elena shook her head softly. We did it, after the storm weeks later. The Alliance held a quiet ceremony above Earth. There were no loud celebrations, no parades, only respect. Elena stood beside Admiral Xylan on the deck of High Reach Station, looking down at the blue planet below. The hollow are gone, Xylan said, but they will return one day. You know this, Elena nodded. Yes, but next time they'll face a united galaxy. He turned to her, his golden eyes softer than before. You humans, you are strange creatures. You destroy, but you protect. You are feared, but you give hope. I understand now why they said what they did. Elena smiled faintly. And what was that? Xylan looked out at the stars. Do not attack the humans, or they will never let you escape. Elena laughed softly. Maybe it was never a warning. Maybe it was advice. Months had passed since the great battle against the Hollow. The galaxy was peaceful again, yet an uneasy silence filled the stars, the kind that comes not from safety, but from fear of what might come next. Humanity and the Krell Dominion had grown close. Trade routes were open, scientists shared knowledge, and fleets patrolled together. For the first time in galactic history, enemies had become allies. But for Fleet Commander Elena Ward, peace was not rest. She could not forget the energy that came from the Titan core, the power that destroyed the Hollow. It was beautiful, but unnatural. In her private quarters aboard the Eidolon, she stood before the glowing blue Titan core. Its light filled the room like a living heartbeat. Dr. Liu, she said through her comm, what have you found in your research? The scientist's face appeared on her screen. His eyes were tired, his voice quiet. I think I've found where the Titans came from, he said slowly. But you won't like it. The hidden coordinates, Doctor. Liu had been studying ancient data hidden inside the Titan core. For weeks, he had decoded symbols that were far older than human civilization, older even than the galaxy itself. Finally, he discovered something shocking. Coordinates, not to a place within the Milky Way, but far beyond it. In the dark space between galaxies, he called it the origin point. I believe that's where the Titans were made, he said. And whoever built them left something behind. Elena stared at the data. You mean someone gave us this power? Liu nodded. Yes, but it's not just ours. The Titans were designed to awaken only when life itself was in danger. I think they were waiting for the right kind of species to find them. Elena frowned. The right kind? Not the strongest. Not the smartest, Liu said. The most resilient. The ones who survive. He paused, looking thoughtful. That's why they chose humans. The Council's division, when Elena presented the findings to the Terran Council, the room erupted in argument. We cannot go there, one minister shouted. The void nearly destroyed us once already. We won't survive another encounter. Admiral Reynolds slammed his hand on the table. We need to know who created this power. If they can build Titans, maybe they can destroy them too. Elena stood firm. We're not going for conquest. We're going for answers. The Hollow were not the end. They were the beginning of something bigger. If there's a chance that we can prevent another invasion, we must take it. The room went silent. Finally, the council speaker said, Very well, the mission will proceed. You will command it, Commander Ward. Take whoever you trust most. Elena nodded slowly. Understood. A dangerous journey 2 months later, the Eidolon and a small escort of ships, one human, one Krell, prepared to leave known space. Admiral Xylan insisted on joining the mission. If this is where the Titans were born, he said, then we have as much right to know as you. Elena agreed. Their bond had grown stronger since the war. Xylan had once feared humans, but now he respected them deeply. Before departure, Dr. Liu approached Elena quietly. If we reach the origin point, he said, be ready. What we find there might change everything we believe about who we are. Elena smiled faintly. I've already stopped believing in limits, Doctor. With that, the fleet jumped into the void, the space between galaxies for days. They traveled through the dark expanse between stars, a place where time itself felt slower. The stars behind them grew smaller until even light seemed afraid to follow. No signals, no known landmarks, only silence and blackness. Then on the 12th day, sensors began to detect something ahead. Captain, said Lieutenant Harris, I'm picking up structures, massive ones. When the holographic screen lit up, everyone on the bridge went still. Before them floated an entire city, but not like any they had seen. It was made of shining white metal, stretching miles across space. Giant rings rotated around a glowing core of light. It looked like a world built by gods. Dr. Liu's voice shook with awe. We've found it. The origin point. The voices of the past as the fleet approached the shining city. Strange signals began to echo through their comms. Whispers, soft and ancient, speaking in a language no one understood. Elena listened carefully. The tone was not angry, it was sorrowful. Dr. Liu translated what he could. It says, welcome, children of memory. You have done well to survive. Admiral Xylan's eyes widened. Children of memory. What does that mean? Lau explained. It's what they used to call creators of life, species who remember where they came from. The ones who carry history. The ships entered the outer ring of the city. There was no resistance, no weapons, just silence and glowing light. Then, the core of the city opened, revealing a beam of energy that stretched toward the Eidolon. Commander, Harris said nervously, it's requesting a connection. Elena hesitated for only a second. Accept it. The awakening, when the connection activated, the entire ship trembled. The lights dimmed and a holographic figure appeared before them, tall, radiant, and not quite solid. It spoke in a calm, echoing voice. You have come far, children of Earth. The Titans recognize your courage. Everyone froze. Elena stepped forward carefully. Who are you? We are what remains of the architects, the voice replied. We built the Titans to protect life from the hollow. We watched civilizations rise and fall. Many were strong. Many were wise. But only your kind carried the spark that endures, the will to protect even when there is no hope. Elena swallowed hard. Why us? Why humans? Because you remember pain, yet you choose kindness. You remember war, yet you choose peace. That is strength the hollow cannot consume. The light around the hologram flickered. But our time is short. The Titans you wield are fragments. The true Titan still sleeps here, the heart of all. You must awaken it before the hollow return. Dr. Liu's eyes widened. The heart of all? A larger Titan? The voice grew faint. Not larger, alive. It is waiting for one who understands balance. And then the light faded, leaving silence behind. The trial of the heart at the center of the shining city was a massive sphere of light, the heart of all. It pulsed gently, almost like it was breathing. Elena approached it with Admiral Xylan and Dr. Liu beside her. What do we do now? Xylan asked quietly. Elena placed her hand against the surface of the sphere. The moment she touched it, her vision changed. She was standing on a barren earth, broken and gray with storms in the sky. She saw humanity's past, wars, pain, loss. Then she saw people rebuilding, helping one another, standing together again. The voice of the architects echoed in her mind. To awaken the heart, one must understand both destruction and mercy. Elena whispered. I understand. Light surrounded her. When it faded, the sphere began to move, its energy rising like the birth of a star. The entire city came alive. Rings rotated, beams of light reached across the void, and power readings spiked higher than anything ever recorded. Dr. Liu shouted, It's waking up! The heart is responding, but then something else appeared. The return of the hollow as the heart awoke. Sensors detected movement beyond the edge of space. Hundreds of black shapes appeared. The hollow had returned, drawn by the awakening energy. Alarms filled the ships. Admiral Xylan turned to Elena. We can't fight that many. Elena stood tall. We're not going to fight them the same way. The heart of all glowed brighter, and a deep voice filled the air. Not machine, not human, but alive. You have called me, and I will answer. The light from the heart expanded outward, forming a massive figure, a titan unlike any before. It was not metal or machine. It was energy shaped like life itself. The hollow stopped moving. For the first time, they seemed afraid. The heart spoke again. "Children of the stars, you have proven that memory is stronger than hunger. Now watch and remember." With a wave of its hand, a brilliant wave of light spread across the void. The hollow dissolved, not destroyed, but turned to harmless dust. The darkness that once fed them vanished into silence. When the light faded, the heart's voice grew soft. "You have done what even we could not. Protect this galaxy well. The hollow will sleep, but not forever." And then, the great light dimmed, leaving behind only peace. The message of the Titans. The fleets returned home months later. The galaxy celebrated the victory, but Elena knew it was not truly an ending, only a beginning. At the next council meeting, she shared what the architects had said. The Titans were not weapons, she told them. They were teachers. They were waiting for a species to prove that strength can come from compassion. Admiral Xylan nodded beside her. "Then perhaps at last we are ready to be more than conquerors." Elena smiled softly. "Maybe now we are ready to be guardians." The galaxy had changed forever. Humans and Krell were no longer enemies. They were allies. The hollow had been defeated, and the heart of all Titan had awakened. Peace had returned, or at least it seemed so. Fleet Commander Elena Ward stood on the bridge of the Eidolon, looking out at the stars. Her mind was restless. The Titans were powerful, but they were not limitless. Something still whispered in her mind. Do not underestimate the humans. Dr. Liu joined her, holding a tablet filled with new readings. "Commander, the heart is stabilizing, but there is something else." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Something else?" "Yes," Liu said quietly. "There is a latent energy in humans themselves. The architects left it behind, connected to the Titan core. It's awakening." Elena turned, her eyes sharp. "You mean we have more power?" Liu nodded. "Yes, but it is dangerous. If used recklessly, it could destroy everything, even life itself." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we must learn control before it learns us." A new threat emerges. Months of training and study followed. Humans and Krell learned to connect with the Titan energy in new ways. Ships were upgraded, fleets synchronized, and scientists discovered new applications of the heart's power. But in the darkness beyond the Milky Way, something stirred. A massive fleet appeared, ancient ships long forgotten by the galaxy. They were not hollow, nor were they like anything humans had faced. Their hulls were covered in unknown symbols that pulsed with energy. Sensors detected life forms inside, but nothing familiar. No communication signals, only intent. Admiral Xylan was first to speak aboard the human Krell fleet. "This is not a hollow fleet. It's something older. I've seen nothing like this in our history." Elena studied the display. "The architects said we were chosen. Maybe this is what they meant. Something has returned to test us. The battle of silence." The ancient fleet advanced silently, their energy shields shimmering like dark crystals. Weapons were fired, but human and Krell defenses barely slowed them. Elena ordered, "Form a defensive perimeter. Connect all Titan cores in the fleet. We fight as one." As the fleets linked together, a pulse of energy spread across the void. Ships shook, lights flickered, but slowly the ancient ships began to falter. Then a strange signal appeared on all communication channels, not in words, but in thoughts. Every crew member could hear it in their mind. "Humans, Krell, you carry the memory of survival. You have awakened the heart. Prove your worth." Elena's voice was firm. "We fight not for conquest. We fight to protect all life. That is our worth." The ancient ships stopped firing. For the first time, they seemed to pause, as if judging the intent of the humans and their allies. The test of humanity. Then a single massive vessel detached from the fleet. Its energy glowed brighter than a star. A holographic figure appeared aboard the Eidolon, tall, radiant, with a voice like music and thunder combined. "I am Varian, guardian of the architect's legacy. You have awakened power beyond measure, but awakening is not enough. You must prove restraint, wisdom, and unity. Can you control the strength you wield?" Elena stepped forward. "We have learned that true power is not domination. It is protection, mercy, and memory. We understand restraint. We understand responsibility. Varion's gaze seemed to pierce the void. Very well. Then your trial begins. Without warning, energy waves pulsed from the ancient ship. They were not attacks, but tests. They touched the minds of all humans and Krell, showing visions of despair, destruction, and choices that could lead to ruin. Every fleet member faced their deepest fears: failure, loss, betrayal. Elena's mind burned with visions of Earth destroyed, friends lost, and fleets destroyed. She almost fell to her knees. But then she remembered the heart of all the Titans and the countless lives depending on her. "We endure," she whispered. "We protect. We survive." The pulse passed. Varion's figure reappeared. "You have proven it. Not with weapons, but with your spirit. You are worthy of the Titans' power." A united galaxy with the trial complete, the ancient fleet bowed, not in submission, but in respect. "Go forth, guardians of the galaxy. Remember that all life is fragile. Protect it with the strength that only memory and mercy can create." Varion vanished, leaving behind a trail of light that merged with the Titan heart. Admiral Xylan, once a proud conqueror, looked at Elena with awe. "Humans, I underestimated you." "You are truly remarkable," Elena smiled. "And you, Admiral, learned the same lesson we did. Unity is stronger than pride." The Krell fleet joined the human fleet in formation. For the first time, the galaxy witnessed humans and Krell moving as one, not as conquerors or subjects, but as protectors. The message of peace back on Earth, the Terran Union held a ceremony. Leaders from every world attended. Elena spoke to the assembly, her voice calm but firm. "We have faced the Hollow. We have awakened the Titans. And we have been tested by the legacy of the architects. Let this day be remembered not for fear nor for war, but for the strength that comes from protecting life. Humanity does not seek to conquer the stars. Humanity seeks only to survive, to remember, and to guard the future of all who live." The crowd erupted in applause. The Krell delegation bowed, their scales shining under the lights. Even Admiral Xylan was moved, and somewhere in the depths of the galaxy a faint whisper echoed, "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you escape." But this time, it was not said in fear. It was said in admiration. The new Guardians months later, humanity and their allies had reorganized the galaxy. The Hollow threat was contained. Ancient forces had been appeased. The Titans, guided by the heart of all, were now guardians rather than weapons. Elena Ward stood on the bridge of the Eidolon, looking at a bright Earth below. The planet she loved, the one that had survived countless trials, was at peace, for now. Dr. Liu approached. "Commander, the heart of all. It is stable. The energy within humanity is also awakening. We can learn to wield it responsibly." Elena nodded. "Then we have a duty. Not just to humans, but to every life in the galaxy. The architects trusted us with this. We will not fail them." Admiral Xylan, standing beside her, placed a clawed hand on her shoulder. "I have seen your strength. I will follow your guidance, human. Together, we will guard the galaxy." Elena smiled softly. Together. A future to remember across the stars. Fleets moved in harmony. Scientists explored ancient ruins. Planets rebuilt what had been lost. And deep within the heart of all, a soft light pulsed, alive, aware, and waiting for the next challenge. Elena whispered to herself, looking out at the galaxy. "Whatever comes next, we are ready." The stars glittered like diamonds. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy had peace. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of light and time, the words were spoken again, carried not by fear, but by truth. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you escape." The galaxy remembered, and humanity stood as its eternal guardian.